Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Winning the Sale from the Very First Response. My name's Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealeron. And for anyone who isn't familiar with Dealeron, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. Dealeron was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2011, and Dealeron customers were winners of the Spring 2012 Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards. Dealeron is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we are the only company in the industry to offer a lead guarantee program. That's right, lead guaranteed. So if your website company isn't guaranteeing you leads, then maybe you should check us out at Dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have David Kane as our presenter today. David Kane is president of KaneAutomotive.com, an award-winning training and consulting company that specializes in automotive internet sales, BDCs, digital marketing, and social media, with a focus on improving dealership sales and profits. Notably, Kane Automotive was voted Best Internet Sales Training Company for the last 5 years in a row in the Dealer's Choice Awards by Auto Dealer Monthly magazine. David Kane has 20 years of extensive automotive retail experience and also co-founded FordDirect.com, a dealer factory-owned joint venture that provides the internet leads to Ford and Lincoln dealers. David is an active speaker at many industry events, including the NADA conventions, state association workshops, digital dealer conferences, and manufacturer training conferences, as well as numerous 20 groups, and he can be reached at david@kaneautomotive.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. And if we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we're going to respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. Oh, and guess what? Our good friends at Kane Automotive are offering up a fantastic prize today for one lucky attendee. What is it? It's a seat to an upcoming Kane Automotive training workshop, and that is 2 days of intense learning from the best internet sales training company in the biz on the topic of your choice, and it's a $500 value. All you have to do is stay tuned and answer a simple question towards the end of today's presentation. First one to write in the correct answer will be winning this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of today's webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. Fill it out, as we're always looking for some quality feedback from our audience. And today, we're also going to randomly select some winners from all of the completed surveys to get some Google swag. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's learn about winning the sale from the very first response. David Kane, how the heck are you today?
I'm doing great, Eliana. I'm coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky, downtown in our training center, and I am really thrilled to be here because all I hear the buzz on the webinar circuit is how good the Dealeron webinars are. So it's thrilling to be able to be part of this, and I hope to be able to impart with some good education for the people who are listening in today.
David, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. And of course, our webinar series made much better by your presence here today. So thank you for that. I want to let you know, David, I'm looking through the list of attendees. I'm seeing a few familiar names, but I'm seeing a lot of names I've never seen before. So of course, we want to welcome those people for joining us today to a Dealeron webinar. And yes, we always try and give you great value, some fun too, and you know what? We want you to get interactive with us. So if you have a question for David, like I said earlier, print it into the question feature. It's going to come to me, and we're going to get to those questions after David's formal presentation. Right, David?
Absolutely.
Yes, and now we're talking about winning the sale from the very first response. So I'm really excited you're doing this for us today. I want to tell you, my last 2 car buying experiences did not have good first responses by the dealerships that I called, and consequently they did not get my sale. And I'm just saying that, me, outsider looking in, you know what I mean? So I do think that maybe there are some dealerships here who can learn a lot from you today, and I'm excited to hear what we're going to learn about. So, what are we going to learn about?
Well, what we're really going to focus on at the beginning of the course is understanding the intention of the customer and why they shop at certain sites, and how the data that they present to you is really something we need to pay real close attention to, because their online shopping experience is going to dictate how you really should respond back to them. Additionally, we'll talk about treating every customer the golden way. So a lot of people will say we treat all of our internet customers the same. Now, I think that's somewhat wise, so long as we treat every internet customer great, or better yet, the way we want to be treated. And then, of course, creating a flow to your lead handling tactics and your communication activities. So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the Q&A, and hopefully they'll have something that we can anticipate and be prepared to answer, and we'll just take it away from there.
I think that sounds great. Looks like we have a lot to get to. All right, without further ado, take it away.
Excellent. So, Eliana, thanks a lot. And well, I guess it's probably important for us to reacquaint ourselves with the dynamics of the internet and understand that our customers used to stop by. I started selling cars in 1982 at our family's Ford dealership, and it was great because we'd walk out on the lot on any selling day, be it a Tuesday, a Thursday, a Saturday, and there was always someone driving through the lot or walking through the lot trying to get information on the car, and this was really the only way. They might be able to flip through a magazine, they might be able to drive past the lots when we were closed, but it was wonderful when we would be in a position where they would stop by. Nowadays, they click by. And we're all the time talking to customers about their shopping experience, and one of the things that we commonly hear is, oh, I visited 7 dealerships, or I went to 10 dealerships. And then we'll check the uplog, and they'll say, oh, no, I didn't go to the dealership. I went to their website. And the consumer nowadays equates visits to the website much like what we used to count as visits to the store. And their orientation, whether they're shopping Amazon or eBay or Zappos or any kind of website is, that's now the storefront. And when they visit, they understand that. Now, we were at a workshop at Google earlier this year, and during the ZMOP presentation, they were alluding to the fact that consumers visit 18 sources of information before they purchase a car. Additionally, J.D. Power points out that consumers only visit 1.3 dealerships in person. So the variation between those 18 sources that they look at and the 1.3 dealerships they stop by physically means that the consumer is very heavily deselecting dealers. So what that essentially means is they check us out, they might even submit a request, and then it's up to us to earn the opportunity from there. So if we don't respond timely, if we don't respond well, if we don't answer their questions, if we don't provide the information they're looking for, we get marked off the list. Now, we don't get to see that, but when the customer doesn't respond to us, we understand that's the big difference. Now, additionally, just like the old cowboy on the bucking bull when they come out of the gate, we have about 8 seconds to win the first response. So starting with the subject line and our leads and the quality of our voicemail and things of that nature, it's much like if we're walking across the lot to a customer who's visiting us in person, we have about 8 seconds to really get their attention. So after they click by, what happens is sometimes we're lucky enough that they call us. And in fact, the phone call has really become cool again. And when you look at your websites, and DealerOn is, of course, exceptional at designing great websites, we need to make sure that that website becomes a catalyst to the opportunity for a conversation. So make sure your phone number is omnipresent on the front of the website, on each of the vehicles, because to me, receiving a phone call, be it from our website, a third-party lead source, or something like that, is the most valuable kind of lead we can get, because we then don't have to start chasing the customer because they're already very actively engaged with us. Mostly, though, customers wait for us, and they wait and they wait and they wait. Now, that's a problem because in that waiting time, they have an opportunity to deselect us. So what we found is if you're the first, you're typically going to be the one with the best opportunity. So what's the best way to delight our customers? Well, the old line, be over-prepared. And when we talk about that, a lot of dealerships are really casual when it comes to lead response. If you look at the environment nowadays, the customer has been online, they know a lot of information about the vehicle, and probably 6 months ago they started the ramp-up process, and now they're really at this acute timeline. So when you actually receive a lead online, that's the culmination of all this preparation work that this customer has gone through. For us to ignore their level of effort with a subpar effort on their own really puts them in charge, and what we want to do is to make sure they understand that we're equally prepared to help them as they are to help us. So one of the elements that we put in place at our clients a long time ago, and we iterate as the internet changes, is a pre-contact checklist. So when we talk about being over-prepared, one of the key things we want to do is be able to go through this checklist with our employees and make sure that we're completely ready to provide a quality response. So what's the source of the lead? Is this a customer I know? Am I checking my CRM tool as soon as the lead comes in to see if they're a previous buyer? Maybe they've just had their vehicle into our body shop, or maybe our repair shop, so that we are aware of what their investment was in maintaining that vehicle. Is the inquiry something that I'm familiar with? Do I have the information to answer their questions? What do they want me to focus on? Is this a trade request? Is it available request? And then my communication opportunity. Should I call the customer? Should I email them? And what objections should I plan for? So one of the main things that we get asked all the time, Eliana, is should we call the customer first? Well, I was with someone the other day and they said, oh, well, we think you should respond in kind to the customer. Well, so the assumption is when we receive a request online through our CRM tool that the customer has actually emailed us. Well, quite to the contrary, what has happened is your CRM may have emailed you, but the customer was on a website and filled out a form. So responding in kind is really responding to the needs of the customer. So customers don't typically like to hear from us 7 o'clock when they're sitting down for dinner, and they're not expecting a call from us. But what we've learned firsthand from customers is they want to hear from car salespeople when they're shopping for cars. And a good hint that they're shopping and they're actively interested is when they submit the request. So we need to be prepared for that. Now, understanding that every lead is different is really, really critical to your overall response characteristics. So let's just kind of leaf through a variety of different leads. And essentially we're going to look at the same lead, but we're going to look at it in different formats. So the first format we'll look at is a dealer website lead. And when a lead comes in, like for example in this case, this lead came in on a Thursday at 8:27 a.m. So immediately I can start making some assumptions. 8:27 a.m. Could this have been someone who has just gotten to work? Could this have been someone who just came in from a night shift? Could this have been someone who's a student who's just getting online before classes start or something like that? There's any number of things. Then I come back and I look at the source and the type. It's our dealer website. Great. This is somebody who has literally clicked on our lot, just like I was talking about earlier. They have visited our store and they're requesting an e-price. That's a different dynamic, and I need to understand this customer's probably key variable that they want to hear back from us is, what's your price? So then we see their name. We might want to cross-reference in the CRM tool. In fact, every time we receive a lead, we want to see if this customer has been in our system, either a walk-in, a previous owner, and things of that nature. And as you can tell, this is the golden lead. We've even got an address. We could pin down exactly what kind of house they live in and the value and things of that nature. I've got a phone number, which I'm really thrilled about because the first thing I want to do is contact them by phone. I've got the make and model, and I've even got, what I'm really loving is the VIN number. So, wow, this is really great. And then to enhance the value of it, they've told me what they want to hear about. I'm interested in this specific Taurus with that VIN number, and I'm going to be trading in my '07 Explorer with only 23,500 miles. So their request was an E-price. If I go back and I now try to sidestep what they were interested in, I risk losing that. So what we've got to do is take this head on and respond back in a mirroring effect for the customer. Now, let's look at the same lead as a third-party new lead. So it's a little thinner with data, and I see it's a third-party new lead source. That could have been Dealex, Auto USA, Auto Battelle, any number of them. But they've been on that website, and they want a price quote or a price quote request. And so I've got their name and their email address. I don't have an address, a physical address or a phone number, so that changes my response characteristics. And I don't have a VIN number, so now I'm having to kind of guess exactly the model that they'd be interested in. And their comments, though, help give me an idea. I'd like your best price on a blue SEL Taurus with leather. So now I can start filling in the blanks, but since I can't make a phone call, I can see if they've been in my CRM, but it does change what my approach will be. So very same customer coming through a different source changes my whole approach right from the get-go. Now, if this customer has either been to our website or a manufacturer website or any site and they want their trade value, once again, same time lead came in, but it was a trade valuation source, and they want a trade value request. They've given me their name, their email address. Heck, I've even got a phone number, which is great. They've told me the make and model they might be interested in, but more importantly, because it's a trade value request, it changes the whole dynamic of my response characteristics. So I would now change everything about my response, and I would talk about their '07 Explorer. They've said the condition is very good. It's not excellent. It's not fair. It's not poor. So that's good. I've got a pretty good perspective there. It's only got 23,000 miles on it, and it's got a clean Carfax, and they haven't put any comments because the form they filled out didn't really require it. All they wanted to do was know what my trade is worth. So we commonly see salespeople responding in this way to a lead like that. Thanks for your information, or thanks for your request for information on the 2012 Ford Taurus. And then they talk about the Taurus. And the customer is in a position to where they're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want a new Taurus. The form made me fill that out. I want to know what my trade is worth. I didn't like the value they gave me on the website, so I'm looking for something better. So the same customer through a different lens changes the same dynamic, or changes the dynamic considerably, and we need to be prepared for that. Now, if this was an online classified used car lead, we've got the same customer. They come through, same time, and now it's not a price request. It's not a trade value request. It's just an information request. Same name, same email address. Great, we've got a phone number. And in this case, they've asked for a 210 Ford Taurus, and it's a specific VIN number. I didn't put that into the slide, but in this case, they did mention they had a trade-in. And oftentimes what happens is the customer on a used vehicle lead wants to know, is this vehicle still available? They're not asking for the price. They're just asking, is the vehicle still available? So oftentimes what happens is we come out of the chute and we say, this vehicle is priced this, this, and this, and we forget to tell them it's still here. So we need to make sure that we understand the dynamics completely so that we, when we do respond, do a really great job with that. Now when it comes to new cars, a lot of us get very frustrated, and I know I used to when I was in the dealership selling cars. I would sit here and say, why is it always about price? That's all the customer ever wants to know. Well, so let's shop like the customer. I'm shopping for a 2012 Mercedes-Benz GLK class on Kelley Blue Book, and so I see my price information. I see where it tells me the MSRP, what the fair price is, and immediately they're saying get your free quote. So the lead comes in and they pre-fill the information that says I want a price quote on this product. Now we move into another environment, TrueCar, that's made a lot of headlines this year. And TrueCar just has a little different approach. They give an array of ranges, the dealer cost, the price average paid, the invoice, and of course the MSRP. And then they suggest a target price. But if you'll click here and give your information, you'll be able to view dealer pricing. So that's another key reason why customers ask for price. And of course, Edmunds.com, same type dynamic. We know the customer is being led down this path. It's suggestive that if you will click this link, not only will you see the total price that we have, but now you're going to get a dealer quote. The fact of the matter is, getting a dealer quote is not often to just support the price the customer saw online. It's giving the impression to the customer that they're going to be able to beat the price that they were provided online. So it's really, really important for us to understand what that customer experience is like online. So of course, Auto USA, a good quality provider of third-party leads, same type of setup. You barely get to spec out the vehicle, and what do? They ask for their name, their last name, their phone number, and their email. They're not real worried about all the details on speccing out the vehicle, because what they want to do is get the lead to the dealer. And what does the verbiage allude to for the customer? Get the best price from dealers now. So when we receive these requests, the customer's mentality is, if we're a participating dealer, by golly, they should be receiving the price quote. So whether it's our own dealership website or a third-party website, a manufacturer website, customers' mentality is all about price. Seldom is that the only reason, and a recent study really concluded that the behavior of the salesperson, the approach of the salesperson, the tactics utilized really are the difference makers. But it's really important to us as sales professionals to understand the dynamic of what the customer is going through when they're shopping for a car. So the lead source and of course the type coming from that source has to change your approach, and we need to make sure that we're really geared in before we go after that customer right from the get-go. So when we talk about the right approach, mirroring the customer is really, really critical. So we've learned that if the customer says blue, somewhere in your response, be it a voicemail or an email or in some level of conversation, if we're lucky enough to get them on the phone, we better use the word blue. If they said manual transmission, we better be prepared to talk about manual transmissions. If they talk about navigation or entertainment centers or things of that nature, we need to make sure that we're totally dialed in and ready to mirror back to the customer, because much like dating online, eHarmony, or anything of that nature, we're almost in a relationship building status with our customers, and customers want to know that you get them, that you understand. So they're putting in all their information with the expectation that we're going to read it, and especially their comments, especially their questions. So the key here is to show that you care, and what's that old adage that we talk about? They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and it's really, really critical. One thing that we've learned is a lot of people will ask us, can we have some scripting? Give me some scripts that really work. Well, what we really want to do is to make sure you understand scripting really helps, and it gives you confidence and control of yourself in any dialogue. But sometimes scripting just covers up a bad process. So if you have a great process, your customers are really going to be enamored with it. So we say all the time in our training, show them you're good, don't tell them you're good. And if you're just good, they really, really appreciate it, and they start yelping about you and Googling your name and giving you the kind of reviews you need to really drive the business back to your dealership. So additionally, we need to be quick and be thorough. So if Eliana and I were on a showroom floor, and I was on one end of the showroom and Eliana was on the other, and a customer walked through the center door, and I got to the customer first.
I can run pretty fast, Dave. Are you sure?
I know, but I've got a pretty good slide tackle, Eliana, so I can probably get you down out of the way. So the fact is, if I got to the customer first, the chances of Eliana selling that customer go way down, because I might be capable of inspiring that customer to just stay true to me. So the first thing we've got to do is be in first place. And then we've got to be thorough. As I pointed out, we need to understand the logistics of what that customer went through, what time they were shopping. We need to learn what their motivations are. Are you enjoying the car you drive now? What kind of use are you looking for in the car that you're going to be buying? So along those lines, we've got a real simple philosophy when it comes to follow-up. You need to be on the phone or communicating by email, text, or otherwise in 5 minutes. And you need to follow up forever. So our philosophy is you read the lead within the first 2 minutes, very much like what I just took you all through. Open it up, look at the lead source and the type that came from that source. Look at the details that they gave you. Read the comments. Understand that dynamic. See if they've been in your dealership before. See if they're someone that's a loyal customer, and be ready to respond in kind that way. Personalize your message in the next 3 minutes and be on the phone. And if you can't get them on the phone, make sure you leave a really great quality voicemail, and then you can email within the first 5 minutes if they don't answer the phone. So we want to make sure if they've thought if they've run into a lazy car salesperson or car dealership, we dispel that rumor right away. Our dealership is all about, much like the fire department or Jimmy John's, when that phone rings, we're delivering the goods. We want to make sure that we're putting out the fire, we're giving them their sub sandwich, and we're making sure they know that whenever they call us, we took their response serious, because they might have been tuning up for the last 6 months for this wonderful golden moment. And if we don't act like it's exciting to us, they will start demoting us and then eventually taking us off the consideration list. So there's nothing wrong with taking your level of enthusiasm way up and letting them know, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that I was lucky enough to get to work with you. We really, really need to emphasize day one and response one, as we're talking about in this webinar, winning the sale from the very first response. What we found is you may not sell the car on the first response, but you certainly can lose the deal on your very first response. So what we've got to do is win the opportunity to be able to communicate further with that customer as we go forward. So call first and call fast. And back to that old standard where a lot of people say, well, it's an internet lead, so the customer obviously was shopping online and they probably want you to send them an email. Well, that in fact is probably partly true, but a lot of customers are sometimes, particularly when it comes to low volume or low availability inventory, they're a little nervous as to whether or not you're going to have the vehicle that they're looking for. So what they're really looking for from you is great service. And when we call them as a speculation call, when they're having dinner with their kids and aren't interested in the market, no, they don't want to hear from us. But when they really are acutely interested in shopping for a car, call first. You'll find out that what a customer really wants is exceptional service. And if you provide that, they're all in for a phone call every time. And of course, if we don't get them on the phone, we have got to create a winning environment with a wonderful voicemail. And I am really curious, a lot of dealerships don't do a good job with voicemails, but one of the standards that we build into our training early on is we want to make sure that all of our voicemails are prepared and we're scripted so that the voicemail we leave first is different than the second one and the third one and the fifth one and the eighth one. And importantly, to understand, the first response is not necessarily the one that's going to cause them to respond back to us. So we need to sequence out. So in our CRM, we should be able to note as a manager after the fact which voicemails worked. Was it voicemail number 1? Was it voicemail number 5? Was it voicemail number 8? What was the verbiage that was used? So we need to make sure if we're unable to get them on the phone that we do a really, really great job of inspiring a return phone call. Now, what I'd like to do, Eliana, if we could you go ahead and throw up a poll? I'd like to know what is your average response time at your dealership.
Okay, everyone, you heard it. Mr. Kane is looking for our answers. So if everyone could please look at your screen and answer honestly and just select one of the following answers. So the question is, what is your dealership's average response time? Is it 15 minutes or less, 15 minutes to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to 60 minutes, 1 to 2 hours, or is it over 2 hours? And David, just so you know, when I did buy, those last 2 car shopping experiences that I told you about, I actually had dealerships that took 3 days, 5 days. There was one dealership who didn't call me for 2 weeks. By then I had already bought the car. I bought the car the next day. So, I mean, I was ready to buy. So, I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we still today run into that. I do a lot of work with General Motors, and they've really dropped the response time collectively for all the GM dealers, but also work with another luxury manufacturer, and what they've noticed, Eliana, is the close rate will drop by 2 percentage points for each dealership if they wait more than an hour to respond. And if they wait more than 5 hours, it drops nearly 3 percentage points.
That's a
so
lot.
It's a huge impact on overall close rates.
Well, let's see what our very smart and very attentive audience today says. Well, it looks like 38% of today's audience say that they can respond within 15 minutes or less. 40% of today's audience say it's more like 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Not too shabby. And then 18% of our audience says it's somewhere between a half hour to a full hour. And then we have 2% say it's 1 to 2 hours, and another 2% say it's over 2 hours.
Well, so that is a good learning lesson in and of itself. If you're a member of this phone conversation, utilize that information to improve your process, because what we're seeing early on across the industry is it used to be 24 hours, then it was like 12 hours, and then 6 hours, and now we're really, really pounding on the 5 minutes or forever. I do a lot of work with Active Engage, the live chat company, and they have noted that if you're not on the live chat within 7 seconds, customers already start turning off the live chat. So it's a game of minutes, it's a game of conversation and concern for the customer, and if we're not quick, we put ourselves in a really, really bad way right out of the gate. So let's go on live, and I'll click to the next slide there. Let's see. So your first contact to the customer is the moment of validation. So we've heard of the 0 moment of truth. Well, when the consumer has been in a position where they're working with customers or working with dealerships across a spectrum of brands and in different environments, whether it's a metro store, a rural store, or someone in the suburbs, your first contact is this moment of validation. They want to know, do you care and can you be trusted? So when we start immediately going right into, oh, so you're interested in this, when can you come in? Oh, so you're interested in this, you need to know the price? Oh, and we start demoting the customer as though, oh, it's a bad customer because they want to know something that we ourselves would want to know. So it's important for us to immediately build rapport. Oh, so this is great. How long have you been shopping for a car? What made you decide on the Toyota? Oh, the Camry's an excellent choice. Was it the safety? Was it the features? Was it the price and value? What was most interesting to you about the vehicle? So when we can start building that level of rapport, they start understanding we can be trusted. The most important thing we can do is be prepared when they ask the all-consuming emotional question, what's your best price? And when we can be prepared to respond in kind to that, the better off we're going to be. So that should be something that every morning when you come into your dealership, we should go through the fundamentals, almost like saying the Pledge of Allegiance or eating our cereal every morning. We should walk in and get prepared and get our team prepared and turn around and question each other and say, Eliana, what's the out-the-door price on that vehicle? Hey, what's my best price? Hey, can you do any better on that price? We need to have muscle memory in place for when that all-important question comes out. We sit here and respond very comfortably, oh, I'm glad you asked. Let me see if I can go ahead and get that for you. In any case, we want to make sure the customer understands that that's not the first time we've heard it, and we're prepared to support what their question is. So, additionally, we want to talk about how we would want to be treated. Well, I know my grandparents taught me the golden way. So customers typically appreciate when we treat them the way we want to be treated. So when we sit here and start shuffling the deck on the customer and the customer starts getting frustrated, whether it be an email, a voicemail, a text, a video, a phone conversation, when they pose these questions, we want to make sure they understand, yes, you sound just like me. I want to know that same information. Why don't I go ahead and gather that stuff for you, and we're going to talk about it. Not only am I going to give you the price, but I also want to talk about why this Ford is a great value. I want to share with you why Kia is the right vehicle for you today. So regardless of whether they ask for the price, we need to append on price what the value is. And additionally, not only do you get a great vehicle when you buy a Hyundai, but our dealership's been in business for over 50 years, and we understand exactly what customers are looking for. So we've got a special process. Let me describe that to you. So now we need to decide when a lead comes in, what is our connection plan? So it would be great if every lead came in and it had a phone number that we could call and do some sort of immediate connection. But we're also seeing that email is kind of falling by the wayside. As people will email in the morning, they might not get back on email till later in the day. Now, all of us in the car business, we're typically very advanced. We get a lot of emails every day. We have a lot of interaction, but the average car buyer is probably not the mega email user that we are. But texting works, and customers appreciate texting. So I'm finding from our clients that a good, well-placed text is really, really powerful. Additionally, the caution I would give you, though, is don't over-text. If they're not responding to your first one or perhaps your second one, shut it down. If they are engaging with text, I think that's a wonderful thing to do. I've got a 24-year-old daughter, and she's getting married here in a couple of weeks, Eliana, and
that's so nice.
Her and her fiance arranged their honeymoon plans via text with the agent.
Wow.
It was amazing. They gave them the links. They ended up going online. All the dialogue took place via text. Now, that only takes place if they're communicating the way the customer wants to be communicated with, providing the information. There's a lot of transparency. They're mirroring back to the customer. So we need to make sure, whether we're on the phone call, whether we're emailing, or whether we're texting, we understand what our connection plan is. Now, in most cases, it's all of the above. So we need to make sure we understand that. So the first thing we got to do when we're emailing, though, is win the battle of the inbox. And we sometimes don't take subject lines really serious. So if you look on the screen, you'll notice I'm getting emails from J. Smith, City MB, someone named Kathy Wilson, who I don't know who that is, Smith MB, that's another one, and then good old David K. I'm assuming that's maybe me. So what I want to do is when I respond, it would be better if they could, in the from line, see that I'm a dealership instead of an individual like J. Smith or David K. Additionally, in this case, they put 2012 GLK pricing from Island Mercedes-Benz. Now I'm thinking, hey, that makes sense. That's what I was online looking for. And wow, I'm going to open up that inbox or open up that email, because if we don't get the email open, it doesn't matter how good our activity was or what the verbiage was inside, we're going to lose. Additionally, I like this thing that Smith Mercedes-Benz did. They said Mike, which happened to be the mystery shop name that I was using for this shop. He put GLK prices, that's what I was looking for, and then he said ... Smith Mercedes. So he's personalized it, he's wowed me with what I was interested in, and then he built a little brand all in one simple subject line. I now will open up those two emails and move on from there, as opposed to one from Jay Smith that said info you requested. Or was that on a computer? Was that on a vacation? Was that on something else, or is it just junk? So don't make me think when I look at this subject line. Make it easy for me to select you, and I'll go from there. We need to have, of course, excellence in every communication, and we need to be very well-rounded. A lot of dealerships don't utilize a lot of the things to their advantage. Building live chat into your email response so they can click on that. Allowing them to communicate with you via text is really important. So we need to make sure that in the email we put, it's okay for you to text me if it's easier. Additionally, when we win the first response, what we want to do is get the reply. So if we, in any way, shape, or form, cause them to respond back to us, and then we engage, the better off we're going to be. And some people disregard postal mail, but if I've got a mailing address, every time I'm going to drop a postcard or some simple little note card in the mail so that these people understand that I'm ready to roll. Now, we do have a recommended tactics flow that I'd like to drive home to the group here, and this is something that is pretty much flawless when it comes to stimulating a quality response from the customer. The first thing we've got to do, whether it by email, text, voicemail, is sell the reply. Anytime you do any of those tactics without asking a question, you really eliminate your opportunity. Additionally, we need to sell the call. We study this over and over and over at our clients. If we don't make a phone call or get them on the phone at some point in the equation before they show up, we typically are not able to sell them a car. So what we're finding is the dealership that has the phone conversation is typically the dealership that sells the car. And the phone call is all about saving them time. So in an email, in a text, on a voicemail, we need to allude to the fact that when you call me back, I have everything you've asked about laying right here next to me. It will just take me a couple of minutes to review it with you. We'll go over the specs. We'll talk about the incentives. We'll talk about availability. We'll talk about what you want to talk about, and we'll have all that done within just a couple of minutes. And I'll be able to respond right back to you with anything you need while we're on the call. What we're finding is 100% of success comes from a good telephone call and selling a visit. Now, there are a lot of people who will schedule visits online, and one of the key elements of years ago with Dealer On, Eliana, was the e-auto savings certificate where the customer could go on and schedule their appointment.
Right.
We love that. And it's one of those variables where sometimes we can sell the visit via email, but not always. And even if we are trying to sell the visit, remember, customers don't like tests. I went through 12 years of school, actually, 16 years of school, and I didn't like tests anytime. So when we talk about a test drive, that's not real inspiring. I've got a client in California that sells joyrides. Come on in for your joyride. It sounds a little corny, but the fact of the matter is they do a remarkable job of making that joyride sound like something that's inspiring. And of course, when they come in, we need to make it special and sell the car. We've got to get the whole team involved, the managers and everybody, to where getting ready for the appointment is really the key to selling the car. So the most valuable element of an email, the simple question mark. And it's not something that your brain skips over. When your brain sees a question mark, they have to take pause and think about whether or not I should respond. And the other thing in the car business is we don't talk pretty. Eliana, when you wrote the description for this webinar, I gave you what I wanted to do, and you made it sound pretty. When we opened up
yes, that's my job, to make you sound pretty.
When we opened up the call, you were of the utmost professionalism. You set it all out. You explained everything, and it sounded great. In the car business, we're all about what's it going to take. Can I get you in? And will you if I can? Well, what we're finding from great service industries like Ritz-Carlton and all of these great Nordstrom experiences that any of us might have had is they're really quick on saying thank you. Well, certainly, I would be happy to. I'm so glad you called. Please allow me. I understand. It'd be my pleasure. Right away, Eliana, I'll get you that information. So we like to literally print out this slide and make that available for our clients just as a top-of-mind awareness tool that, oh my gosh, am I talking pretty to this customer and am I making them feel as though I'm a quality responder? Because what's happening is it creates a halo effect. So if we talk pretty, guess what the customer starts thinking? Everything we do is better. We talk nice, we present nice, our cars are nicer. Even if they're the same as everybody else, we are a better quality operation. So additionally, we need to describe a special process. So people are all the time saying, oh yeah, come on into the dealership. Well, customer says no, or why? Well, it's real simple. We have a special internet process. We're going to be ready when you arrive and have the vehicle pulled up right up front. We'll present the vehicle to you. We'll let you take it on the test drive, and if you like it, we'll give you a great price. We'll go over all the trade information, make sure you get the top value, and make sure all the payments are in line for you. That way, if you decide you can take it home today, or you can just think about it. Either way, this is the process that works. And then we ask them, does that sound okay to you? So we let them decide if they like our process. And if they come back and say, no, I want the lowest price, then we know that they're a tougher customer. But what we're finding is when we describe a special process and we ask them, does that work for you? A lot of times people say, yes, man, that sounds a lot better than the guy down the street. He just wanted to get me in. So I like how pretty you talk, and I like your approach. It makes all the difference in the world. So I do have another poll question, if you don't mind, Eliana. Can we ask them, does your dealership have a special process for internet customers?
I think that's a great question and the perfect time to do it. Everyone, Mr. Kane is asking for your answers once again. If you could please turn to your screen, check out the question and the answers, and pick one of the following. So does your dealership have a special process just for internet customers? The answers available to you are yes, of course we do. No, I didn't know we needed one, and not yet. We're working on it right now. And the votes are coming in fast and furious, David. And by the way, we already also have a lot of questions from our audience. So I told you my audience is sharp. I always get a sharp audience.
No doubt.
No doubt at all. So, almost everyone has voted. If the guy next to you hasn't voted, nudge him a little bit and tell him to put out. But actually, another couple seconds and we will close the poll and share the results. Okay, so here you go. 61% of today's audience says, yes, of course we do. 35% of today's audience says, not yet, we're working on it right now. And a mere 4% of today's audience said, no, I didn't know we needed one. Is that what you thought the answer was going to be, David?
Actually, I am so impressed, and it just goes to really put an exclamation point on the Dealer on Webinar audiences, because this is an advanced group, and because of the answers, it really just solidifies that they are working on this, and there's a lot of dealerships you can learn from. I like this one dealership client that I work with, and they call theirs the one process. One price, they're a one-price store. One person, you're going to work with the same person the whole time in 1 hour. So if you work it this way, one price, one person, 1 hour, and the customers love it. And sometimes, yeah, it takes more than an hour, but that value proposition comes out really quick. Another client that we work with has theirs, and it says the right car, the right price, the right way. And both of those immediately confirm to the customer, I really have arrived at the right dealership. So I'd like to just, as a wrap-up, cover some recommended action items. So understanding your customer's motivations before you respond is really, really critical. And then the tactical fundamentals: sell the reply, sell the call, sell the visit, and then sell the car. Ask questions in all your emails, inspire engagement, answer all their questions, try to talk prettier, and of course measure what works and adjust every step of the way. So I also want to go back and we'll talk about this prize giveaway. This will be our concluding activity before the Q&A.
Yes.
The question
yes.
I've got is...
I got it for you. Wait, because some people weren't there at the very, very top of the hour when we told them that there was a prize. So let me just go over it again. I mentioned at the very beginning of the webinar today that Kane Automotive is giving away a fantastic prize to one lucky attendee. It is a seat to an upcoming Kane Automotive training workshop. Now, what does that involve? Well, it's 2 full days of intense learning from the best internet sales training company in the biz. And you get to pick the topic of your choice, and it's a $500 value. So all you have to do is answer a simple question. And the first one to write in the correct answer will be winning this awesome prize today. And the question is, what are the 4 key recommended tactics to follow to get the customer to buy the vehicle? First person to write in the entire answer gets to... I think we might have a winner already. Hold on. Oh my goodness, we do have a winner. We have a winner. Stop writing in, please. Oh my God, please stop writing in. We do have a winner. He was the second person to write in, and he had the correct response. It is, let's see if I can expand this a little bit. Justin Barnett had the correct answer, which was sell the reply, sell the call, sell the visit, sell the car. Excellent work, Justin.
Wow, great, Justin.
So thank you so much, everyone, for playing along. Don't worry, we're still giving away some more prizes. All you have to do is, after the webinar concludes, answer the questions in the post-webinar survey, and we'll be picking out some random winners to win some Google prizes. So, Justin, if you wouldn't mind, oh, look, you're already writing it. Yeah, Justin, send me your mailing information and all that stuff, and I'll forward that over to David Kane, and they'll get you taken care of on that end. So thank you, everyone, for playing along. And David, if you're ready.
I'm ready.
If you're ready, because I got to tell you, my audience, they pull no punches. They are going to ask you the really, really tough questions. And we're going to get started right now. Allison wrote in, do you think our voicemails should be scripted? And I want you to know, she put an exclamation mark and a question mark. So, and I recall you saying earlier during the presentation that not only do you have the voicemails scripted, you have them scripted as to, is this the first time you're leaving a voicemail, the 5th time, the 10th time? Is that right? How, if you're 5 minutes and forever, how long do they go?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Allison. So I have a lot of friends who run call centers that are responders for dealerships, and one of them said that the average connection for internet, and you got to look across the whole spectrum, is 11 phone calls. So leaving quality voicemails is really, really critical. Oftentimes what we find is we don't leave a good voicemail. So when we talk about scripting, it's not necessarily that we write every word and they come off like a script. If you look at the great actors and actresses out there, they're in a position where when they go on stage, they're given a script. And they don't just go in there and be told a story and then think of what they should say. They're told what they should say. And then the great ones make it sound like, oh my God, they just pulled that off so well. So when you look at a script, oftentimes it's just a conversation flow, maybe some bullet points or something to that effect. If we go back and we look at describe your special process, all we really said was we've got a special process. We're going to be ready when you arrive. The vehicle that you're interested in is going to be pulled right up front. So when we talk about a great script and a variety of them, what I would say on my second call is perhaps way different than my first one. I like to tell them in the afternoon if I'm getting ready to leave for the day, hey, I know you're interested in this vehicle. I left a message earlier. Just in case you need to get back in touch with me, I'm going home for the evening. I've got to take my kids to a soccer game, but I'm going to have my phone with me. Please call me at this number, and I'll be glad to help you out. So that's way different than the standard, hey, I received your request. Please give me a call back. Most voicemails we hear, and we listen to hundreds of them, are not very creative. So the better off you can script them with great verbiage, the better off your responses will be to those voicemails. Great question, though.
That was. And don't forget, show people your pretty face, David. We like to look at you when you talk to us.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow, we have a lot of questions, so we're going to try and get to these as quickly as possible. Jamie wrote in, hi, David. Jamie with Moberly Motors here. Can you email me?
Jamie's a good customer of ours.
Good. He says, can you email me the pre-checklist when you get a moment, please? Thank you, Bunches. Well, it's a good thing he's your customer, because I was going to say, Jamie, I'm pretty sure he's going to charge you for that.
Oh, please. No, anything anybody would want from this call, I'd be glad to provide free of charge.
Oh, that's so very nice of you. Thank you so much. So, Jamie, I would say check your email box after the presentation. Marla wrote in, so if you have a phone number, you call first and then you email, and I'm going to assume Marla is saying even if they emailed you with their phone number. You always call first?
Always call first, and I can tell you it's a difference between, say, a 5% close rate and, say, a 10% close rate. So you can double your close rate by calling first. The customer is basically filling out a form, and in that form, if they're providing their phone number, the only reason I would not call first is if in the comments field they put a note that says, do not call me, or I would prefer email. But what we sometimes assume is because they filled out a form and we received an email from our CRM tool that they emailed us. Well, quite to the contrary, they actually filled out a form and they gave data. And sometimes the pre-select field is on your preferred method of contact is email. Well, the customer didn't select email. They just didn't select phone as their preferred. So the preset gives you a false indication that that's the customer preferred method. So when we're sitting there trying to get to the customer in a very competitive marketplace, the best thing we can do is call first. If they don't like that, apologize. But I can tell you, making hundreds of phone calls to customers over the years, I rarely ever had a customer ever get frustrated because the quality of my response was so much better than anyone else that they felt really comfortable to go ahead with the phone conversation. And it's very similar, Eliana, to when we walk out on the lot, we walk up to the customer and we say, hey, good morning, thanks for coming into Kane Ford. I really appreciate it. What do they say? I'm just looking. Customers on the phone say, I was just clicking around. But people show their intent when they submit the request, and if for quality, with our response and our engagement, we're going to be able to move it forward. But that's a great question.
It is. Thank you, Marla. And I want to say, I've never worked in a dealership, but I have bought a lot of cars at dealerships. And for me, if I give somebody my phone number, even if it was through an email or an internet query, I would be expecting a phone call as a shopper. Otherwise, I wouldn't give the phone number.
Yeah.
That's just me. Okay, next question is from Ricky. He says, how do you feel about text messaging as the first point of contact? I know you hit about text messaging a little earlier, but first point of contact, text messaging, what do you think?
Well, I think text messaging is becoming really, really key to that first hour of response tactics. I would still stick with, in this order, the telephone, the email, and then the text. And in the text, I would just make sure they felt very comfortable with it, and I would get to the point immediately on what I would want to do. Additionally, one of the key text messages that we've seen that works really, really well, Ricky, is Hey, we received a request on the 2012 Taurus. If you'd like, I can send you a quick video on it. Would that be okay? And now the customer is more at that level of engagement, and if we can then provide the video, it takes the wow factor way up.
I love it, and I'm just going to give you the heads up, David. We got some really tough questions coming up. And Ricky, I hope that helped you out. Next question comes to us from Marla. She says, are you experiencing a generational gap in how people want to be treated? Now, I don't know if Marla means does everyone want to be treated nicely, because I'm going to assume yes. Do you mean, Marla, in how they want a phone call as opposed to an email or a text? So write in with that answer. Ricky wrote in, again, how do you feel about autoresponders?
Well, I think an autoresponder, Ricky, is one of those necessary elements to make that customer feel as though the information was received. I would really caution you to make sure your subject line is a high quality one that causes them to open it, and I would make this thing text message like. Very, very thin, let them know that we got it. The very best auto response I ever received when I was shopping for a vehicle came from a dealership in Michigan when I was working with Ford Direct, and the young lady was one of the top salespeople in the market, and her auto response said, hello, David. Thanks for asking for information on the Explorer. I'm going to give you a call right away. Is there any other product that you'd like information on before I call you? Question mark. And it was that simple. and I felt like she wrote it. And then when I talked to her, she goes, no, that's my auto response. But didn't it look like I wrote it? And I was like, yeah, man, it really did.
That was good.
Typically, we don't like auto responses because they look like auto responses. Make them good, and people will appreciate them.
I'm already impressed with this girl. So did you buy the car from her?
Of course I did.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Okay, Ricky, I hope that helped you out. And by the way, Marla did write in, and she did say, yes, she wanted to know if, are you seeing a generational gap in how people want to be responded to? Do you think maybe, let's say, the younger people prefer text while the older people maybe prefer phone call?
Well, I do know, and I've got Marla, great question. My daughter, who's 24, works with me now, and she's like, oh my God, Dad, you got to come around here. Here's how we communicate. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and things of that nature. So I have this ongoing training in our own organization to teach me that. Plus my 22-year-old and my 19-year-old are the same type situation. So yes, but it's really important for you to make sure they're okay with texting right out of the gate, because a lot of people just want to make sure, because texting is becoming such a high volume activity that they don't want wasteful text. So always concentrate on the quality of the engagement and make sure that you mirror back to them what they were asking, and the better off you'll be. But yes, Marla, I am starting to see a big gap there. Older people tend to really, really appreciate email, and most everyone appreciates a good quality phone conversation if it moves along at the right pace and we show that we care about the customer.
I absolutely agree. And Marla wrote back in, and she says, she said, thank you, we're improving our special internet process today, exclamation mark. So thank you for that.
Great.
Okay, next question. We have a lot of questions, so I'm going to keep you as long as I can, David, until you say you've had enough of these awesome questions from my awesome attendees. Okay, next question's from John. He says, could you ask David to go over how the close rate drops as the response time increases? I heard him say it drops 2% after how much time?
Yeah, so, and the gentleman's name was John?
Yes.
Okay, so John, I was kind of shocked at this. So there was I work with multiple manufacturers, and the information's starting to come back from their activity levels, because they can dial into the CRMs and see how quickly the leads are responded to. But one major manufacturer provided some information to me the other day across the spectrum, all across the country. What they found was If the lead was responded to and it took more than an hour to respond, the global close rate for all their dealerships dropped a collective 2%. If it took more than 5 hours, it dropped 3%. Now, last year when I was doing some work with General Motors, they were sharing with me a statistic that said if we wait more than 24 hours to respond, our close rate is cut in half, and in fact, the loyalty to the GM brands is reduced by half. So it's astonishing the impact of close rate, or the impact of response time on close rates.
I mean, I'm one of those people who believes if you go online, you're looking for the information right away. You're going to want it as soon as possible. So
it's when you have time, and we're
right.
time constrained. I mean, that's the most valuable commodity that I've got. I mean, I love to have some free time, and I just don't have it like I
So when you have it, you want to maximize it. And
yes.
You know what else is funny? Earlier when you said that your daughter planned her honeymoon over text, I actually planned mine over live chat. I asked one question, that was the question I needed answered, and I was like, great, let's book it. And she booked it for me right there over live chat. So
awesome.
It was about, you know, instant gratification. Okay, well, John, I hope that answered your question. David, excellent answer. Megan wrote in, how do you handle your mass amount of leads in the morning? So I guess that's a great question, Megan. Is there a way to prioritize them that you can recommend to people?
Yeah, so the first thing we like to do is we call it the lay down identification program, and that's kind of a coarse way to say it, but customers sometimes are lay downs, right? They just, oh, I'm ready to buy right now, let's go ahead and do this. So the first thing we try to do is not stop the clock. That's a really, really bad variable that's creeped into our marketplace, is stop the clock. Manufacturers hate the terms, dealers hate the terms, but I see that as a legacy term that just keeps creeping back. It's not about stopping the clock, it's about finding out what that customer needs. So the first thing we try to do is call everybody as quick as we can. So we review the lead, and we're on the phone, and we're calling them, so that if we can find someone who is ready to do something, we go ahead and take the time and build rapport and sell a visit to the dealership, so that then we can sell a car. The only way we're going to find out who the easy ones are is to go ahead and call them. So if we look at the spectrum of leads, whether it's from our own website, third party, online classified, or whatever, it's really hard to ascertain who's a really good one right up front. Now, some manufacturers are moving into scored leads, and some CRMs are starting to sit there and rank leads. That's new technology, and it's going to get more and more helpful as we go forward, but you never really know. I mean, when I was selling cars on the lot, guy would come in and he'd say, oh, I won't be buying for a week, and he'd drive off within a couple hours. And the other guy saying, I'm going to buy today, doesn't buy for 6 months.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. So the first thing we want to do is have enough people on board, and we always go back to the dealership management, and we say, how come you don't have enough people in there to call first thing in the morning to clear the deck?
Okay, wait, David, hold on 1 second. 1 second, David. Before you answer all of Megan's question, we had some other people who wrote in, especially Monday morning. So I just want to put that out there. What you're about to say is going to even cover somebody who's on Monday morning got, 3 days worth of leads, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's typically a staffing issue at the dealership. So when you get your upper level management to finally agree that the internet customer is really, really critical, they'll bring in staffing. So you have salespeople come in Monday morning. Sometimes they've got to go smoke a cigarette, have to talk about their fantasy football draft and things of that nature, the sports roundup we used to call it at our dealership. What we're asking dealerships to do is train those people to support the BDC team or the internet team with responses, make some phone calls, and work as a collective team to clear the decks. Because just sending emails, their auto-reply and stop-the-clock emails are going to make the whole week tougher. So the most critical day of your week is the day that starts the week, so get enough people in there to do a really quality activity with that customer and train them to do it the right way. I know a lot of you are sitting there cringing going, oh my God, I wouldn't have Joe respond to any leads, or I wouldn't have Mary respond to any leads. Well, they just need training. So the better we equip these people, the better they'll be able to help us clear the decks at high water marks.
Yeah, I remember meeting a couple dealerships, and they said no one in the BDC has off on Mondays. All hands on deck on Mondays.
Yes. Well, and the other thing is, the reason why Monday's a big day is because we don't respond to leads 24 hours. We now have a lot of dealerships that are starting to respond to leads for 24 hours. So the best way to clear that Monday backlog is to respond when that lead comes in.
Okay, a follow-up to Megan's question is from Marla, and she says, but how do you handle after hours? We currently have a consultant who volunteers to cover those customers, but we haven't reached a really good response or closing rate yet.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. A lot of people will send in leads after hours with a lower expectation that they're going to receive something until the next business day. And that's okay. Sometimes it's one of those, oh, I submitted my information, now I close the lid on my laptop and I go to bed. So yeah, you're not going to have that kind of engagement sometimes. So what we've got to do is go ahead and respond in kind. Certainly after a certain time of night, we don't want to make phone calls, but that's when good emails, quick emails, and things of that nature will set the stage for the next day. So it's also important, if we're going to have an autoresponder, that we have an after-hours autoresponder that lets people know we are closed for the day. But I've got a good friend, Matthew Belk, that owns a company called Better Car People, and they do after-hours responses. And it's amazing how effective that is in helping dealerships keep things going. And it's a low-cost activity to keep that engagement level going. So keep that in mind. There are companies that will provide that service at a reasonable price.
Fantastic. And yes, Steve and Marla, I hope that helped you out. Megan has another follow-up question to her original question. She says,
Great.
More specifically, how do you recommend prioritizing the leads in the morning? Who should we respond to first, the ones that have come across during the night, or do we work the morning leads and work backwards?
Perfect. Great question.
I know. I'm telling you, I told you my peeps are smart.
Yeah. So I've learned from experience, start with the last one in and work backwards, because the last one in is the one you'll have the best opportunity for scheduling an appointment like right away. And then work your way to the 9 p.m. and the 9:30 and the 12 p.m. or 12 midnight and 1 a.m. type leads, because those people sometimes submitted with the low expectation that they're going to receive something. So if someone sent you a lead in at 7:30 a.m., I would call them before someone who sent you a lead in at 10:30 p.m. the night before. So great question. And then when pinned down, if I don't have the ability to have additional staff, Megan, I truly would look at my own website leads first, then I would look at manufactured leads, I'd look at third-party classified leads, and then I'd look at third-party new leads in that order. So that's kind of my flow for responding. So my dealership website, particularly VIN-specific leads, then my manufacturer leads that are vehicle-specific, and then my third-party classified, like AutoTraderCars.com, UsedCars.com, and then my third-party new in that order.
Fantastic. So thank you. I mean, it sounds like we could do a whole webinar just on this. We had so many questions about it. So I do want to say Marie wrote in, and she said, great, helpful advice even for the RV industry. So thanks. Marie, thank you for that. See that? It's not just about cars. RVs too. And Rodney wrote in, no question, just a comment. You guys just helped me realize that I really need to change my voicemail verbiage. Even though I feel that it's strong, there's no harm in trying just to see if it becomes more productive. Well, good luck with that, Rodney. And
yes, and Rodney, please share with Eliana and I what you come up with that works.
We're always in for a good voicemail. Okay, next, how much longer do I have you for, David? Because I have still a handful of really great questions.
Sure. Well, I got another 5 minutes or so, so that'd be great.
Rapid fire. Let's see how many we can push through. Chris wrote, when we are asked for our best price, we give them invoice. Is that right or wrong? Ooh, what do you think, David?
Well, it really depends on your management. So Customers are looking for a competitive price, Chris, and to a large degree what we've learned is it's important to address price right up front. And there was a great study that was done, Cobalt e-Business study, and it said that 60% of customers, when given a competitive price, will stop shopping and give you an opportunity to earn their business, whereas the others will either compare prices with another dealer or go to third-party sources to see if your price is good. What we like to do, Chris, is make sure that when they pin us down for the best price right up front, is we want to pull in a reference point, be it the Kelley Blue Book price or the Edmunds True Market Value price or a Pure Car price, to where the customer sees that it really is a competitive price, and that would work for new cars. With used cars, what we'd want to do is allude to either our vAuto or First Look or a dealer track pricing characteristics and say, you know, we've shopped the market and we've determined that on condition, mileage, equipment levels, that this is the very best price in the market, and we want to make sure you feel confident in that. So we don't just want to give them invoice without the value and without that competitive approach. So we're also finding that the dealerships can take their price up if they're able to pull in these competitive sites and leverage that to your advantage.
Chris wrote in, thank you. It was a great answer. And Wade has a similar question. Wade wrote in, well, what is the best way to handle what is my trade-in worth? Loaded question.
Well, I think it depends on whether or not you have the tools available on your website to go ahead and let them provide the value. What I want to say is make sure that your dealership does have those tools. They're so inexpensive, whether it be Black Book Online or Kelley Blue Book or some other similar trade evaluation tool to where you can get on the screen. I've got a client that is now starting to use technology that Eliana is using today, where they use actual go-to-meeting technology, and they'll get on the screen with the customer. They'll schedule a web conference with the customer, and they'll walk through the trade valuation screens with them so that they can be firsthand with the customer as they're putting the value on their trade-in.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that works really good. And of course, if you don't have that technology, I think you got to tell the truth. Well, tell me as much as you can about the vehicle. I'm going to go to my manager, and I'm going to get a preliminary view of it. And of course, we'd love to see it because my manager gets really excited about trade-ins. And if he sees them in person, we're always going to get you a better price.
That's a great way to handle it, too. I like that one. Wait, I like the last one. Okay. Okay. Ricky writes in, hi, David. It's Ricky Lopez. Can you email me the recommended tactics flow? Ricky,
yes,
David is all over that. If you could just send him a really quick email and ask him that, he'll be able to respond quicker,
well,
right?
I will say this. So Ricky's with a large Dodge dealership. And last night they crossed 250 internet sales for the month. So
wow.
I learn every time I talk to Ricky. So anytime I can share something that's a good idea to help them along, I'm really tickled to do that.
Okay, other people are writing in too. If you want anything or you have any questions for David, that's why we have his phone number and his email address up there. So he's welcoming all questions directly from you. Hop to it. And then we have a really great question here from Justin, our winner today. He said, is there a schedule of workshops somewhere that I can look over? David?
Yes, all Justin would need to do is either send me an email or he's in a position where he could go to our website at kaneautomotive.com, and we'd be glad to update him on that. So we love to do it. We have communications workshops. This month we've got an internet operations workshop that we're doing, and then we've got a social media and digital marketing workshop coming up in October. A lot of good opportunities to take advantage of that gift.
And certainly, even for you people who, we can only have one winner today. But if you're interested, I highly recommend the David Kane workshops. They are amazing, and you will get a lot out of them. So check out kaneautomotive.com and check out that that schedule for yourselves too. Now, I know I have to let you go, David. I'm going to give you one last question before we wrap up. Is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, from Kevin. Kevin says, what is a good benchmark net delivery ratio you're seeing across the country? What is the average too?
Well, so a good point to make there is we're doing these GME summits now, and General Motors is still the largest manufacturer in the world for automotive, and they saw their collective close rate of dealerships go up nearly 2 percentage points to 10.5%. So that's a good steady, what we would call a benchmark. Our average client averages near 15% as a close rate, and some of our best clients average over 20% for a close rate. So it just all depends on what your marketplace is made up, how competitive it is. But I'm really, really worn out with people sitting here saying, oh, well, we're good at 10%. You should be at 20%, because the fact is we shouldn't be putting up with subpar leads. We should be working with our website provider. And you saw what Eliana put up at the beginning. This is why I love working with Dealer On. They really generate great quality leads for you. And the more effort we could put into building our website up, the higher our close rate will be on all of our leads.
Well, there you have it, Kevin. Thanks for that, David. I so appreciate it. And I really appreciate you being here today. You give good webinar.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
That's all I can say about that. And David, I'm going to put you on the spot. I would love for you to do another webinar with us. I think you are spectacular, and I heart you. So everyone who's still sticking around out there, which is the majority of our attendees today, I'm going to let you know, I'm going to try and get David to agree to another Thursday for us, okay? So David, thank you so much once again. We kept you way past the top of the hour, and I do appreciate you sticking around and helping out our attendees and answering all of those questions. And people are writing in, I second that. Yes, absolutely. So without further ado, let's close this up. I want to remind all of you in the audience that a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. You're definitely going to want to go back and check this one out again. Please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues as well. And we're also going to post the webinar online. It'll be up within 24 hours at dealeron.com/webinar. And there you can also view our upcoming webinar schedule too and access any of our past webinars. It's great. Also, don't forget, at the conclusion of this webinar in just a couple minutes, you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out. We need your feedback so we can keep doing this and keep getting better and better. And we're going to randomly select some winners from the completed surveys to win some Google prizes. That ain't bad, right? Now, invitations are going to be going out tomorrow for our next webinar. And this one is going to be by our friend Pogo Par. How to make your phone sales up to 500% more effective. So if you liked today's webinar with David, then odds are you'll be very interested in next week's webinar too. Pogo Par is the Vice President of Century Interactive Automotive, and he'll be here to show us all how to truly analyze a dealership's phone behavior and measure its success. So if you see the phone as an essential sales tool, well then I guess we'll see you next week. This will be another can't miss presentation by your friends at Dealer On. And don't forget, Dealer On's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we got some great webinar subjects planned for this year and next. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, find me. I am all over the internet. I'm on all the networks, or you can reach me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and we hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one.